gave away another lead. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, well, I think we got to have a consistent effort out there for 48 minutes. Right now we played great for maybe half the game, and the effort, we have a tendency to slack a little bit out there. We can't afford that. So we got to just do a better job of maintaining our intensity. We got to know our personnel a little bit better. And we just got to make sure that we're smart basketball players on the basketball court.
By personnel, you mean allowing Beasley to go left most of the game?
Well, you just got to know your personnel. Not only Beasley, Dwayne Wade's, you pump fakes a lot. You got guys that, Jermaine O'Neal, he likes to go with the right shoulder. So just everybody in general just have to become, just more smart on the basketball court by studying the game, studying your opponent, knowing your personnel, and then also just the effort. We got to bring a little more effort out there, So, but it's a total loss. It's all of us, involved in the game. So we just got to do a better job as a team to get better out there.
Those early leads are almost like a false sense of security.
Well, you can't get on your high horse, if I can say. You got to really stay humble and continue to play hard, because we got the tendency to, like you say, once we get the lead, and it evaporates. So we can't afford that. We just got to stay humble and keep working hard for the full 48 minutes.
Can you take us through that final rebound in which you were called for your fifth foul, as far as what you thought happened?
I held him. Yeah. That's a good call.
You guys took Dwayne Wade with that zone the last four, and the other guys touch it like that.
Yeah, we tried to. The zone definitely was successful for us, with containing Dwayne. But a few other guys hit some tough threes in the corner. A couple big shots from, Rayford Austin hit one. I think Darrell White hit one in the corner. So it's a tough break. Once we get a lead, we just got to maintain it. When teams fight back like that, it's tough to win a ball game when it comes down to the last few minutes, because teams have fought back from a deficit and they got confidence now down the stretch. So it's tough to get those wins.
Still fighting the goggles issue? Yeah, first quarter.
Those were new. So I got them in today. I shot around before the game with them on, see how they felt. Figured I'd try them out, for a few minutes tonight. Worked out okay, but I wasn't totally comfortable with them on yet, so I went back with the reliable ones. And I'll try them on again tomorrow, see how I go.
Were those the custom ones that you didn't think you were going to?
No, those are not custom. Those are just some that, I need. Another order, yeah. So.
Were they fogging or just too tight?
No. They just, just different, a few gray areas there, as far as just, vision. So, no big deal. I'll figure it out soon.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
I think you got to give them credit. They're the ones that made the plays at the end of the game and came away with the win. I didn't think thought we played a good first quarter, and then we've been having these problems in the second quarter that we have to take care of. We get these leads in the first, and we come out and we play great, and then we give it all back in the second quarter. In some kind of way, we have to resolve that situation so that we're not playing from behind by half. Really disappointed in some of the things that we did effort-wise. That team's going to guard the whole game. That's been their, that's been their forte from the day Pat Riley stepped on, in the building at that franchise, and it continued to be that way with Eric. Eric, they're going to guard the whole game. And for the longest time we were shooting 55% or so, and we end up shooting 43. So they're not going to quit guarding. We got to continue to make plays. But I think you got to give them a bunch of the credit. The bottom line is that they made the plays. We got the game tied, and they made the plays at the end of the game, and we did.
Disappointed in effort as far as how?
Well, I just think we got to come up with rebounds, and we got to come up with loose balls, and we got to stay focused on what the game plan is, and you got to be focused on personnel and things like that. I was a little disappointed because we let Beasley drive left. He had 18 points before we decided to play him the right way. He had 3 the rest of the way. So just things like that, that's a little bit disappointing, And then we have to come up with the big rebound. You know, we play good defense, and we can't let them get the ball back and put it in the basket. And that happened a couple of times. And you know, we had good defensive possessions, and we didn't finish the possession. Finish the possession and coming up with the rebound. We just didn't do that. And as a result, you know, against a team like that, you know, they're blue-collar guys. They work extremely hard, and then they've got a great player in Wade.
Your zone seemed to take him out of it a little bit late, and the
It
other
did.
guys.
It did, and you know, we have to then go down and score, or you know, when they shoot it up there and miss it, we have to get the rebound, and we didn't do that. A couple of occasions, and that cost us too.
What do you attribute losing the leads to the last few games?
It hadn't been the last few games. It's been a pattern of ours, and that's something that we can't quite put our finger on, and I don't understand it because for the most part, you know, our benches played well, or you know, if our bench hadn't played well, when the starters going back in there, they play well, and we just hadn't done that. You know, really lately we hadn't done that. You know, it's a little bit disappointing because I think if we're going to be one of those teams that talks about making the playoffs and talk about being a factor in the playoffs, then that's something that has to get taken care of. It's not something that can be out there and then in a situation like this, it just becomes really important to win home games. You know, you have to go out on the road. We got, you know, 3 more long trips out there, and you just have to take care of business at home.
On the bright side, can you talk about the effort Grant Hill gave you tonight?
He plays that way every night. I mean, you know, he may not play, you know, he may not have the numbers that he have up here, but I don't ever question his effort. Never have I questioned his effort. I've coached him half of his career, and not one time have I ever said, you have to play harder. Not one time have I ever had to say that. 5 years in Detroit and 3 years here, I've never had to say that.
Coach, can you talk about the crowd tonight? They were pretty into it, getting loud at the end. Did that help the team out a little bit?
Well, no, I mean, our fans are always good. I will say that. You know, our fans, you know, they've always been great. You know, the 5.5 years that I've been here, you know, they've always seemed to, they appreciate good players, even from the opponent's standpoint. You know, they love talent when they see Dwayne Wade, but they do a great job at cheering for us and trying to get us over the hump. You know, they really do. I mean, they give us energy. They provide energy for us. They provide a lift. But, you know, at the end of the day, we have to make the plays, and we just didn't do that. Thanks, guys.